Welcome to Our Stories Matter, We Will Dance Again. I'm Susie Hess, joined by my co-host, Miri Bar-Halpern. This season, we're diving into the stories of Jews, Arabs, and Christians, stories of hope and resilience during times of war.
And I'm Miri Bar-Halpern. In this thought-provoking episode, we are honored to host Lucy Aharish, an acclaimed Arab-Israeli journalist, a leading news anchor and storyteller. She is notable for being the first Arab Muslim news presenter on mainstream Israeli television. Lucy shares her unique perspective on living through war, navigating the complexities of identity, and using her voice to bridge divides in a deeply polarized society.
With unwavering courage and honesty, she discusses the personal and professional challenges of reporting from the front lines while advocating for unity and understanding in the face of conflict. Lucy is incredibly authentic, both as a person and as an anchor, openly expressing her emotions on and off camera, which is super rare in her field.
Yes, and I'm deeply connected to Lucy's story, as it's a story of every mother who wants her children to grow up in a society that will accept them and make them feel safe. As Lucy's husband is Jewish, and they are raising Adam, their child, as both Muslim and Jewish. You know, when I first heard her personal story, a survivor of terrorist attack in Gaza as a kid, facing hate on both sides of the conflict, it really reminded me the power of healing and post-traumatic growth. The fact that she found meaning and was able to find forgiveness is inspiring, and honestly, it helped me find the power to forgive and lean into the pain of others during this war.
I remember those moments with you, Miri, and this is the final episode of our season. And as we reflect back, we had some difficult conversations and interesting and inspiring episodes as well. Post-traumatic growth is born from discomfort. And while some of you might not agree with everything that was discussed this season, we hope that you can connect with curiosity, which can lead to compassion, as compassion can lead to action.
And this final episode with Lucy includes all the above: compassion, curiosity, and a call for action. So tune in and get uncomfortable. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, take us back. Where were you on October 7th?
I was at home. Sleeping in my bed with my husband and our 3-year-old child. Back then, he was 2.5. Heard sirens, 6:30 in the morning. I woke up, I looked at Tzachi, and I told him there are sirens. And he told me, no, you're dreaming. I told him, no, I'm not. So we grabbed Adam and we went to the safe room. And I started scrolling in the WhatsApp groups that we have from our channel that we are in. And I started looking back, but maybe I missed something. Maybe something happened throughout the night. Maybe there was an attack that we didn't know about. And everybody started asking questions in this group, like journalists, what the hell is going on? We have booms above our heads. What is happening? It's all over the place. It's in Tel Aviv, it's in Ashkelon, it's in Ashdod, it's all over the place. What the hell is going on? Tzachi started looking in his groups and he also didn't understand. And minute by minute, we started to understand that something really bad is happening. There were some, I think, 6 sirens that morning. And we entered, we went out and in from the safe room. And then the first images started getting in, and it was horrible. And immediately we understood that something is wrong. It's not a regular operation. It's not a regular siren that is hitting Tel Aviv or, another attack. We understood that it's big. And I think the minute that we understood that it's big, it was when we saw the Toyota trucks in Sderot with some terrorists that infiltrated Sderot, and we started getting some messages in the group saying that there was some infiltration in some of the kibbutzim in the south of Israel. And the horror pictures just started getting in, and it was and as I say each and every day since October 7th, it's been a long, long, long day that is not ending since October 7th. You can say maybe for us, the people who were not hurt directly from October 7th, but maybe we're not in the position to actually say that. But for the families who lost their loved ones, for the families of the hostages, it's a never-ending story since October 7th. And it's like life froze. Right now, we're like in this unreal waiting. We're waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for some kind of an attack coming from Iran or Hezbollah or whatever. This is everything but a routine. You can describe this situation in any word but a routine. This is not normal by any means. I think that we don't understand the magnitude of that day. I think that the Israeli society doesn't understand the magnitude of, or maybe it's not, maybe understands, but not digesting the magnitude of that event happening on October 7th and how it will affect the rest of our lives, how it will be yet another date in history that we will go back to, and we will try to understand how the hell it happened. And I think that until now, we don't understand how the hell it happened.
Yeah. I mean, I wake up living in the States, checking my phone immediately of like, what's happened since I've been asleep. And I can't even imagine that is now happening in the North and the South. And I'm also wondering, as a journalist, how this has impacted you. I can't even imagine, because you're a journalist reporting on everything. And now you're a journalist reporting on what is happening now in your life, in your community. So how has that impacted you and your reporting?
A couple of days ago, it was the birthday of Ariel Bibas. He celebrated 5 years in Hamas's hands, being a hostage, 5-year-old hostage. And, us Israeli, we always say that, we're used to live under this routine. It's like a routine of war, a routine of, I always laugh about the fact that in the United States, when you want to schedule a play date, you like schedule it like 3-4 months ahead. Next Saturday, like on, I don't know, November 18th, we will meet up. And now, guys, it doesn't work in Israel like that. It's like, okay, you call your friend, you say, hi, do you want to have a play date today? Okay, because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. So it's always funny for me when people are like, scheduling something like months and months ahead. I said, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. You want to schedule like in 3-4 months, no problem. But I have no idea what is going to happen tomorrow. I have no idea what is going to happen in 1 hour. This is how we live our lives. This is how we live. Once in a few weeks or like few days comes something that just hits you and just reminds you in this, what craziness we're living. What is this crazy, not normal life we're living? And I think that the birthday of Ariel Bibas, it was that day. 3 days ago, I sat down, I have like this monologue that I'm opening my show each and every day. And it was obvious for me that I'm wanting that I'm writing and dedicating this monologue to Ariel Bibas for his birthday. And I was sitting at home and I was, writing and crying and crying and writing. And I said to myself, this is not real. This is not normal. To write a birthday card for a 5-year-old who is in captivity in the hands of terrorists. This is not normal. And I came that day and I recorded the monologue like an hour before the show, and I couldn't stop crying. Because how can you sing a birthday to a 5-year-old? We say in Hebrew, today, Ariel is Metzayen. I don't know how you say it in English. Metzayen Yom Huledet, and not celebrating, not Ogeg Yom Huledet.
So it's today was Ariel is, I guess, acknowledging is the best, but not celebrating.
And I asked myself, how can you acknowledge a birthday How can you say to a 5-year-old, how can I say to my son, we're acknowledging your birthday and not celebrating your birthday? And as a mother, it just ripped me apart. I'm asking myself, until when? And I'm known in Israel as the journalist who is always crying on screen and always putting my feelings out there. And I'm not afraid to actually express my feelings in front of the camera, because I really think that we live in an era where, the camera just doesn't lie. You cannot lie, because you can try to be, very, up in arms and, strict and, because you're a television figure. But in the name of God, these are our lives. I am, reporting about my life, our reality. I'm not reporting about what is happening in the United States. I'm not reporting about what is happening in Ukraine. I'm reporting about what is happening in my life. I remember that in one of the days, Tahi was in the reserves, and there was a huge battle in Gaza, and our reporter was on the border, and I didn't hear from Tahi for 2 days, and he was reporting and telling me there's huge battle right now in the Gaza Strip, and there are huge, a lot of arms, and I was looking at him, and I saw all the fire behind him and all the booms, behind him. And I said to myself, oh my God, my husband is there. It's he is there. And I didn't hear from him for 2 days. And you say to yourself, this is not normal. This is not normal. So, some people can tell you, I think that we're traumatized.
Oh, we are 100%.
We are all under one big, huge trauma that we try to, live. I had I wanted to go I scheduled a concert on March. Tahi loves, my husband Tahi loves Lenny Kravitz. Oh. And Lenny Kravitz finished his Europe tour in Athens. And on March, he celebrated his birthday. Tahi celebrated his birthday. And I told him, you know what? I heard the psychologist saying that we need to plan ahead. We need to, book something, that we will have something for some kind of an anticipation to something. So I booked us a trip to Athens on August. And he told me, wow, I didn't see Lenny Kravitz. He loves Lenny Kravitz. He's a groupie. He told me, wow, oh my God, I can't believe it. I didn't see him since I was 16. And August came, a day, 24 hours before we were supposed to be to go out. I went out from my broadcast and I heard that we are on red alert for the next 48 hours because of the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. And I said to him, okay, I'm canceling everything. We're canceling it. Why? Because it was supposed to be the vacation of me, me and Tahi were supposed to go for a vacation, and our 3-year-old was supposed to stay here. And I told him, no chance that I'm leaving the country and leaving my son behind. So it won't happen. So I'm canceling everything. So even this thing that I planned, so I will have something to anticipate for back in March, was canceled. It's I was sitting 2 days ago and I said to Tahi, oh my God, it feels like we're waiting for something to happen. This is crazy. I'm sorry for my language, but this is fucking crazy. Yeah. We're sitting and we're actually waiting for something to happen. We know that it's going to happen. We don't understand how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, from which direction it's going to happen. And this just, your nerves are this. Yeah. It's so short that you say to yourself, okay, should I go? Should I not go? Okay, I'm living on the 16th floor. Okay, so wow, just a second. But the missiles, from what we understand from Hezbollah, they are it's a much greater deal than missiles coming from the Gaza Strip. So we cannot stay in the safe room that we have in our apartment. So maybe we need to go downstairs and we need to start running down the stairs for looking for another safe space, maybe in the stairs. And you start thinking things that you say, this is not a normal way to raise a family anywhere. So yes, I can tell you that, we're living an unnormal life as journalists, as people, as citizens, as unnormal life.
Lucy, there's so much to digest about everything you said. Wow. First of all, yes, I think from psychological perspective, we are a community or a country in trauma. And I think specifically what's happening right now, that waiting is a significant part of the trauma. It is acute stress. And we know that acute stress has a strong reaction on the body, on the physiological symptoms, and our immune system, and how do we talk with other people? I mean, I know when I'm stressed, I'm not the best mom, I'm not the best wife, I'm not the best friend. So it's a ripple effect, and I think that is part of the helplessness, right? And and what is trauma? Trauma is feeling like you're helpless, feeling like you're trapped, not even being able to go to a concert. And I thought of what you said earlier about the Ariel Bibas and the birthday party. So my Noam's birthday is November 21st. And I remember that last November, I could not celebrate his birthday. We had a birthday party planned. You have to plan it like months in advance. I was crying throughout his birthday party because how can I celebrate my son's birthday when there's so many in that point, there are still kids in Gaza other than Ariel and Kfil. And I'm like, how can I as a mom celebrate my son's birthday? We celebrated ish, and now August is coming and it's my daughter's Aria's birthday next week. And again, this dissonance of being a mom and trying to celebrate your kid's birthday, but there's so much guilt that comes with it of how can I do that when so many people are still suffering, when a lot of moms are not going to get to celebrate their kid's birthday. And I think that is part of the trauma.
Yeah, I used to, every year since Adam was born, I used to write him something on Instagram. This year, I didn't write anything.
No pictures, no nothing. I didn't know him.
Everything seems like pointless without any flavor because how can you? And, I'm seeing and watching, like, on top of everything, the inner Israeli crisis it's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse and worse. As long as this war is going to continue, it's going to get worse and worse. And we're seeing what is happening in the Israeli society, inside the Israeli society, and we're being ripped apart. Like you will say to yourself, okay, maybe the war, when you go through some horrible times, when you go through some, something that horrible, you say to yourself, you need to start prioritize things. You need to start thinking about what matters and what's not. You need to start thinking about the real battles that you need to fight in your life. And you expect people to have a little bit more compassion towards each other. You expect people to try to sympathize with other people and to sympathize with their situation, to be compassionate towards them. And it's not like that. I never thought on October 7th that someone like that in 4-6 months, I'll be reporting about people attacking, cursing, bullying families, hostages families. Like, I didn't think that it's even imaginable that somebody will and bully someone that his family member is kidnapped. And yet it's happening. Cursing them and bullying them and attacking them. And you say to yourself, what the hell's happening here?
Yes.
Where is Kol Israel Arazim Zelazeh? Where is all Israel, all Israelis, all Bnei Israel, all the Jewish people are there to stand one next to the other? Where is it? After the second Holocaust that happened to the Jewish people, after this genocide that happened to the Jewish people, you find yourself like talkbacking, on social media and cursing and physically attacking people coming back from captivity? You're calling them whores because they're protesting? Because they're protesting to get back the other hostages? You're calling whores and we wish that they didn't bring you back? And really? This is something that a Jewish man is saying to another Jewish woman, or a Jewish woman is saying to another Jewish woman or man. This is something that I think that is so rotten.
Yeah.
And is so fucked up if you, after something this vicious happening to you, you cannot find compassion towards somebody else. What does it make us? What does it make us? I'm not talking about even our enemies. I'm not even talking about them. You don't want to be compassionate. You don't want to have compassion. You can find compassion towards to the other side. Okay, I can understand. To have compassion towards your own people? What the hell is happening here?
What is happening? Because this is happening obviously here as well. And it doesn't matter. So I'm second generation Russian Jewish. I have experienced anti-Semitism from Jews and non-Jews. And I'm like, what is happening here? I mean, what is happening? I think that's the part that is shocking.
Dirty politics. This is what is happening here. Dirty politics. People that look for control, for power over the people. The fact that people want us, some people want us as human beings to be stupid, not to know, not to educate ourselves, not to actually be with knowledge, to have knowledge, because knowledge is power. Education is power. To be educated is to be able to ask questions, is to question what you're seeing and watching, is to look for answers. But some people don't want us to be educated. You know, one of the, I think, biggest obstacles that we have, that we need to solve after October 7th is our education system. Is what is happening, like in our education system, because this is not something, because what happened on October 7th, especially in Israel, you know, we had COVID for 2 years. This is one generation that went through COVID, that missed, you know, a couple of years of their education, of their studies, of their normal, you know, that to have normal education and to sit down in class and to have friends and, you know, lost 2 years of their lives in COVID. And then now it's another 1 year. So we're talking about a huge period of time where we just gave up on education. We just gave up on it. People were turned out from their school, torn apart from their communities, torn apart from their homes, from their friends, and they don't have someone to actually hold this. And we, you know, we feel like, you know, this is unbelievable. It's like we have around 200,000 people that are being misplaced inside Israel. This number, it's like all Israel became from this to this.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, okay, in just a second, this affects a lot of things. The fact that we evacuated people from their homes in the south of Israel and in the north of Israel, and we brought them to the center, this affects so many things. So, of course, it was a needed step, but this affects so many.
Yes.
It's like we are in a pile of, it's about to go into a blast in everything, in economy, in education, in everything. And we don't have leadership to actually see this and look at it and say, okay, I said, one of the hardest feelings that we felt on October 7th was the feeling that we felt that we're orphans. It felt like we don't have any mother or father that is taking care of us. Like when you saw the messages of people, save us, please send somebody, and nobody came and nobody reached out. It felt like you don't have any mother or father. And usually when a mother or father is screwing up, usually they come and say, I'm sorry. This is my responsibility. I did a mistake. Nobody's even taking the responsibility. Nobody's even saying, we made a mistake. No, they're just like, throwing like their mistakes on other people.
Yes.
What I really appreciate about your voice is that you're an example of someone who criticized the government. And people often ask me, how can we criticize the government of Israel and not sound anti-Semitic here in the US? I was like, I'm doing it every day. I went to protest when I was in Israel, right? And this is what you're doing. I mean, nobody can say Lucy Aharish is anti-Semitic, and here you are speaking your truth. And I guess my question is, like, for the people in the US and especially students who keep saying that, what can you say? Like, how, we're trying to focus, like, how do we change the narrative? How can we speak up?
I'm living in a democratic country. And as a civilian in a democratic country, and I'm saying a citizen, a civilian in a democratic country, I'm allowed to criticize my government. My job as a citizen, as a journalist, is to put a spotlight on the dark corners in Israeli society. This is my job as a journalist. I'm not supposed to come and say, oh, well done. Oh, we love you. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Minister. Thank you very... No, this is not our job. Our job is to demand answers. Our job is to show reality and say, this is the fucked up reality that we're living in right now in. And you guys that were elected, you are going to give us some answers about why this situation is so crazy.
Yeah.
Why it looks like that. The fact that I'm criticizing my government, it doesn't mean that I don't love my country. This is my country. This is my homeland. This is my home. This is the place where I want my child to grow in. And I'm fighting for my home. And I'm fighting for my home because some other forces think that my home should not be here, that my home should be deleted. And I'm fighting more voices. I'm fighting voices like extreme voices inside Israel, like extreme right voices inside, messianic voices that say they think that me as an Arab, as a Muslim, should not be at all in Israel because I'm not part of the Jewish people, because the Jewish people is only for the Jewish people. And I need to fight also this. I'm fighting for my country. I'm fighting for the values of my country. I'm fighting for the education of my country. I'm fighting for the life of my country. I love my country. And I look at what is happening in the United States. Okay, let's look at what is happening in the United States. Everybody's pro-Trump. Everybody's pro-Kamala. You're not criticizing your government. Everything, like the United States is not dealing with racism. Like the fact that the one of the nominees for the presidency of the United States is actually questioning what Kamala is. She is Indian. She is black. She is what? I don't understand. And this is actually like a normal discourse in the United States of America in 2024. This is a really big shame. So you are coming and criticizing me? If you will be under an attack, if you right now will be under any attack, American people, Jewish, Muslim, Christians, Hindus, whatever, like won't go and fight for their beloved United States. This is the United States of America. Before everything, you guys are Americans. You are Americans. So before everything, I'm Israeli. Oh, I am, believe me, I am a big critique against this government. And I'm not ashamed to say it. And I'm not ashamed to say this critique. I'm saying it each and every day on my show. I'm criticizing each and every day this government. I'm criticizing each and every day the prime minister. And for some time, I paid also a price for it. I paid in my career. People don't differentiate the fact that, yes, this is my country. Where, you know what? The funny thing is that me, as an Israeli Arab, I don't have another passport. I have only the Israeli passport. Like, while a lot of Jewish people right now are looking in their heritage to find some kind of a connection, a Greek one or a Portuguese one or a French one, or I don't know what, to have a foreign passport, I am stuck with the Israeli passport because the only citizenship that I have is Israeli. Because this is the citizenship that Israel gave me in 1948. So when these all extreme voices of the right in Israel say to themselves, oh, you guys, Muslims, Christians, Jews do not belong here. I belong here more than you, you know? I have only the Israeli passport. You are like dealing with a lot of passports and you are like family. You're lacking like even more passports. I'm stuck with that passport that is not allowing me to enter a lot of countries.
That's right.
While Jewish people are fighting to have another citizenship, I am fighting for the only citizenship that I have. I'm fighting for it, and I will continue fighting for it, for this passport, for this citizenship, for this country, because this is my home.
Yes, I have a question. So I'm wondering, when you say that you're fighting, what can you recommend of how we or universities can fight the polarization that we are seeing globally, but obviously specifically in the States? What do you recommend? What are the strategies that have been helpful as a journalist, as an influencer? What do you recommend?
Speak up, speak up, speak up, because these shallow voices are too strong. The vast majority, the peaceful vast majority is not speaking up. It's always, saying to itself, we're democratic, we're liberal. We need to give them the ability to actually talk and speak, because this is part of freedom of speech. But there is a limit to freedom of speech. When I say the sentence, I know that these people that you're talking about are going crazy. Each and every time that I say this sentence, there is a limit to freedom of speech. And the limit goes in bullying, in racism, in being anti-Semitic, in being neo-Nazi, in being violent. You cannot say everything or justify everything by freedom of speech. Because what these people are doing, these extreme people are doing, is that they are using the values of democracy to ruin democracy. They're using the values of freedom of speech. They're using the values of liberalization. They're using the values of, okay, I am living in a democratic and I need to look at you as someone who's equal to me. They're using these values to actually ruin democracy. Because they will say, what? You won't give me the ability to say what I have to say? So you're not a true democratic. You're not a liberal. If you're not allowing me to say that this woman is this, and that, or this filthy Jew, is this, and that, or this filthy Muslim is this, and that. This is my idea. This is my view. This is my opinion. I need to speak out and say no. This is our responsibility, the vast majority of peaceful people, to shut these people up, to shut them up. And this is not being democratic or not being liberal. This is fighting for democracy. This is fighting for being liberal. This is fighting for equal rights. Because when you give these extreme voices the stage to speak out, you allow their ideas to flourish, especially today. But what happened to us was also big and devastating. When you do something that vicious, that evil, when you decide, when you plan something like that, you know that the reaction will be painful.
Yeah, they knew.
Looking for a painful reaction. Sinwar wanted Israel to invade the Gaza Strip.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of his plan. This is what he wanted, that it will happen. And it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening. So ask yourself, how come the Palestinian people found themselves in this horrible, horrible war?
I have a question. So when you were in one of the talks you gave, that something you said really stayed with me. You said, and so for people that don't know Lucy's story, you're also a victim of terrorist attack when you were younger. And you were talking about how you had to go through the anger in the Gaza Strip when you were a kid. And you had to go back from being super angry to finding compassion. And one of the things that Hamas did that was so personal to you on October 7th, and I'm probably misquoting you, is that they brought back that anger and they stole that compassion and humanity. And I'm hearing you talking now, and I hear the anger, but I also hear the sadness underneath it all. Where are you now in the healing process?
I'm in the midst of it. Of course I'm angry. I'm angry because you cannot be that stupid and that blind. I'm angry because when I said what I said, of course I understood that the first few days, I didn't want to even hear about what is happening in the Gaza Strip. I didn't even want to watch. I didn't want to see the ruined buildings. I didn't want to see the bodies of children, of women, of men. I wasn't interested in watching what is happening in the Gaza Strip. And throughout the days, I understood that what happened is that Hamas, with this evil actions and evil terror that they did, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to murder the sense of compassion in us, in me, because I was really angry at myself that I didn't find a minute in the day to be compassionate about what is happening in the Gaza Strip. And I think that it was a few months after, when I came to the States and you met me, it was like that week that I started watching, like 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks before, that I started watching what is happening in the Gaza Strip. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Today I saw some images that unbearable. And you understand that you're in a circle. Why kids need to die. Why? See the bodies of little children. It's of kids, of babies. This is something that's not normal. So I'm sad and I'm angry. I'm angry that we don't have a leadership that says enough. We have a leadership that only is taking care of itself and its position and its political interests. The Palestinian people are suffering from lack of leadership, and us too. And this is because, Sinwar doesn't care about the Palestinian people. Ismail Haniyeh didn't care about the Palestinian people while he was sitting in his luxurious hotels and while his people were fasting Ramadan and didn't have not even one piece of bread to open the fast with. He was eating, meat and chicken and salads and so they don't care about the Palestinian people. They care about their power. Like I said, dirty politics. And I'm angry that we are tools in the hands of dirty politics.
And it's
I see.
Sorry, I think it's an ongoing choice to choose compassion and it's so hard to do that when you're so angry.
Every day in the morning, you need to wake up and you need to say to yourself, you know how it feels to be a victim. You need to have a reminder. You need to remind yourself, you know how it feels. You cannot allow yourself to be something else than compassionate, than to try to get back your compassion and to try to look in yourself the sense of compassion. Because for a long time, I also looked for people to have some sense of compassion for me, and they didn't. And some of them don't have compassion, like, or, some of them until now attack me on a regular basis only because I'm Muslim. And oh my God, I got married with a Jewish man. So, the assimilation, and that I'm a terrorist, and, that I'm raising a terrorist. Every day I need to wake up in the morning and to find compassion towards people who are evil. And I need to find not only compassion, but forgiveness. I need to wake up in the morning and I see like a post that I'm posting, and see people writing me something about my son. And I need to say, I forgive. I forgive. And then I see the videos again from October 7th. And I say to myself, find compassion. Find compassion. Every day it's a fight. Every day is a fight. And this is the struggle of being a human being. We're not animals. We have feelings. We have a brain to think, have emotions. And this is what differentiates us from animals. We need to put logic and emotions and feelings and thoughts and knowledge. And we speak. We speak.
I so appreciate everything you said and more. And I'm trying to remember everything you said and more. The power of, walking together, of you being seen, as a terrorist, being Muslim, me being seen as a colonizer because I'm Jewish with white skin, and, how we can have this dialogue together. And I think that the power of your voice, the power of having dialogue together is, my hope to dismantle like the polarization, the evil, the hate, especially with people who don't have skin in the game, who are really struggling to develop critical thinking skills. It's about connection, and it's about community healing, which is, the intention of this podcast. And we have two questions that we ask everyone. So the second to the last question for you is, what is one thing you will do this week for your emotional healing?
So I think that this talk was very soothing. It took out like some bad energies that I had in me, and it brought some good, because seeing some faces in front of me that are talking and smiling and, being emotional with me, it makes me feel that I'm not alone. I remember that one day I had like an interview for CNN, and it was not October 7th, like a few years ago. And it was, I think, another circle of violence in Israel or whatever. And I interviewed for one of the shows in CNN. I spoke with someone who was like, I wanted to maybe have a chance to be a broadcaster or to have a job on CNN. And I tried my luck, and they told me, okay, go, if you will interview to this show and this show, maybe they will start thinking about you in that way that position. And I remember that after the interview, this guy that was in a high ranked position in Warner Brothers told me, well, Lucy, you're a little bit too emotional. And, I was like, so I started thinking to myself, I said, but this is me. It's like, what? I need to put on a mask and not be emotional and not actually say what I have to say with the passion that I'm saying it, because if I'm saying it that way, so maybe they won't take me for that. So fuck it. I don't want their job. Like, I don't want to work in a place where people like cannot express emotions and cannot like say like what they feel. So I really think that this is what kept me going, the ability to actually feel. So for me, this talk is, he's like Tzach, he's getting a calmer Lucy for the rest of the night.
Good, you're welcome.
Thank you for feeling with us and for being so real. I think, one of the things that made me just be at awe of you is your humanity. When I heard you speaking in Boston, I didn't know as much about you and your story, and some of the sentences you said kept me going. So I want to personally thank you for that.
Thank you.
For reminding us all the importance of being a human being, being compassionate, and feeling all the feeling heartfully, wholehearted.
Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, I love your heartbeat, and you gave me a lot, but you gave me permission for my own passion because I've been told you're too angry. Actually, someone at USC, a colleague, said you are too angry about anti-Semitism. And I mean, that was like maybe October 12th, and then it's only gotten worse since then. So you have given me so much hope and validation and permission it's okay to be angry and to show that you're angry.
Well, continue being angry about anti-Semitism and be really angry about it, please. Please be very angry about it.
I am so grateful for you on so many levels, like obviously on a personal level, because now, I do feel I have permission to continue to be so angry. And I hope when Miri and I are in Israel, we'll be able to see you in person. You're just so a beautiful human being.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and I really hope to see you soon.
We'd like to thank our listeners, music composer Jonathan Bargiora, sound designer Ivan Reyes, podcast advisor Donna Fazari, and special thanks to the Academic Engagement Network for their generous support. Today's episode is co-produced by Professor Susie Hess and Dr. Miri Bar Halprin. Our Stories Matter, We Will Dance Again is brought to you by Trauma Informed LA. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and at our website at traumainformedla.org. Please give us 5 stars on iTunes so more folks can have access and donate to traumainformedla.org so we can keep recording and healing through our storytelling episodes.